Do you remember episode 2 of the podcast where we had a conversation a bit like this at the start, and then and then for some reason, and then I just cut it, and then it came in, and it started with you going choo choo.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Again.
Oh, because that was just the start, wasn't it? Oh yeah. I'm not choo-chooing again.
All right.
Done with the choo.
Well, welcome to episode 2 of the podcast, everybody. Not that anybody's listening. This episode,
I'm listening.
Yeah, no, thanks. I thought we'd make it a positive episode and call it the greatest episode ever.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
If it did feel unnatural, because doing a little introduction there, I thought, no, I shouldn't have done that.
It's fine. Run with it.
All right, okay. Anyway, so it's basically just all the greatest things that we've seen, done, like, and everything. What do you think of that, Killers G?
I think it should be good. It should be good. Hopefully there's some conflicts of opinion, or else, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know. And, oh, that wouldn't be the start without me squeaky chair.
Well,
there it is.
What are you gonna do if you WD-40 that bad?
That what?
You're gonna have your
WD-40 me back.
Your partner in crime will be gone. The squeaky chair needs to remain forever.
Squeaky chair, I'll WD-40 me back. Right. Anyway,
if you change your chair, you need to get a soundbite of it.
Oh, you know. Right. Anyway, so you just before we started this, you just told me about a friend of yours that actually listened to the podcast, but only listened to the first episode, but only got as far as literally 15 seconds into it.
Well, 15, 30 seconds.
Now that
bored.
is ludicrous.
You got bored by the end of me doing the intro that I didn't know that I was doing.
Yeah, 15 seconds in. I mean, that's whoever that guy is, right? I'll leave it up to you if you want to tag him or not. But if you're listening,
I'll tag
you.
him in. Davey boy at work, Davey boy.
Oh, don't tag him in now. I've just said that.
He won't mind. He can take a bit of crack.
Is he big lad or no?
Could
I have him? Can I have him?
I don't know. David worries me a little bit.
I'm 6'7". I can't believe you're even thinking about this. Come on.
Yeah, but David's that person where when he's had a couple of drinks, he might actually kill you.
Right, I'm not editing any of this out, so be careful what you say.
Yeah, I know.
Right. He would kill me. What, when he's had a couple of drinks? Yeah.
Oh, he's a nice guy, but
Right, all right.
Yeah, he could.
Anyway, so anyway, I don't listen. That's unacceptable. 30 seconds. You can't even get That's not even past the intro credits. Like,
let's
even
face it, he's gonna have to get further than 30 seconds today even to hear this bit. So it's fine.
If a film's shit, you at least watch the first 10 minutes. Oh yeah, whatever. I mean, it was absolute gold after that. Once I put a
film on, it's got to be terrible for me to turn it off. I've got this issue with closure. Even if a film is wank.
Yeah.
I mean...
what kind of films you're watching?
I watched a film with Leslie yesterday or the day before called
What were you going to say? I watched a film with Leslie Nielsen. But then, I forgot it was
but then you remember my
your wife.
Is called Leslie.
Yeah, with Leslie. Anyway, go on. What was it?
Yeah, Dark Light. Fucking terrible. The premise of the film started off quite well, but by the end of it, oh my god! I watched another one last night. Shit, what was that called? It was a film that's made to look like it was filmed in the 70s, but it was only from like 2009.
Oh, is it in like 4:3 format? Like, is it square? Do you know what I mean?
No. Just like the low budget cameras, and then the credits at the start of the film.
All right.
It's set in the 70s as well, a bit of paganism, but fuck me, it's a film that was an hour and 35 minutes, but could have been done in 22.
Yeah, it's like those Netflix series that are like 10 episodes, but like could be one. You know what I mean? Like especially the true crime, like, because Netflix has suddenly just realized everybody loves murderers. All these kind of lonely housewives watching How to Kill Your Husband 101 every day.
And you.
Lonely
housewives and yourself.
So they're bringing out all these documentaries now where it's like 7 to 10 parts, but literally could be 1 or 2.
To be fair though, they don't bring them out often enough.
Nah, they don't. Well,
because the missus loves, and I quite get into it.
The missus
serial killer documentaries.
The missus. Sorry.
And we're forever looking for a new one, and there's never a new one on.
Dude, come on! There's the one about the bomber, the neck guy,
Seen it.
the owl guy,
Seen
the You've seen the owl guy? I thought you were gonna say what the fuck are you talking about? It was the one with the owl. Did an owl?
The actual owl, where there's like a thing in the woods that people think some sort of demon.
Oh man, this is the one where there's a little old man who's like obviously has drop kicked his wife down the stairs, and then at one point in the case, allegedly, by the way, just in case he boots off, just in case I go missing. So anyway, drop kicks her down the stairs allegedly, and she dies and that. And then at one point, like they live in the woods, and they were like, "Oh well, it could have." The defense in court was it could have been an owl flew in through the loft and pushed her down the stairs.
Wow, what is that?
It's called the staircase. It's called the staircase. That's only a very little bit of it. But
I have seen that one, man.
Yeah, the staircase it's a good documentary, right? But it's 7 parts of a court case, and you're like that, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, complete it, mate.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even done. Like, do you know? It's just like this is a phone call that people listen to. You know what I mean? Like, I did that introduction before, and I was like, "Yeah, this is going to be the greatest episode," and then we've just went off and talked about whatever.
I think we've touched on the subject. No, I haven't. I've watched 2 films in the last couple of days, and they've both been shit.
All right, yeah. So you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I watched Midsommar the other day. That was all right.
I like Midsommar.
Although, I think I mentioned it the other day. The band walked in at the most inappropriate time when somebody threw themselves, caved their face in. It was one of those where you think that it's going to pan away or it's going to be a flash, so you don't actually see them make contact with the ground. No, literally face turned into a bag of smash crabs.
How old's your kid?
7.
So, yeah, it's a 7-year-old walked in just
mortified
as an old man flew off a cliff and his head exploded onto a rock.
No, the old man's leg explodes. It's the woman's face that explodes.
You were like that. Happy Easter.
Yeah.
She's like,
enjoy.
Is that Jesus?
Well, he didn't die, so
well,
could be.
Anyway, right, come on, let's get going. Let's get going for reels, right? So all of that, if that's still in, this is bad because it means that I haven't cut it out. Let's start for reels, man. This is the greatest episode. We're not going to mention what is going on.
What?
We're not going to mention what's going on.
We're not. Oh, right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Sorry,
no, this was your idea. You said let's not talk about it.
But I just want to throw one thing in.
Oh, so
I think it's appropriate. Yeah. So. And it's a good thing. A lot of people will have heard of Captain Tom Moore. At least I hope they have. He's this little old man that decided for his 100th birthday he was going to walk 100 lengths of his garden. Now, 100 lengths, yes, we all appreciate isn't that far. But this guy.
Oh, wait. Before you carry on, is this the thing you've sent me?
Yes.
Right, okay. So before anyone is listening, do you want to explain that I don't know anything?
So Rob doesn't know anything about this. So I sent him a link this morning so he can post it on the on the podcast.
You're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing really well. At the end, so if anybody else wants to look up the story. But anyway, he's this old captain, Tom Moore. 100th birthday, 100 laps of his garden for the NHS, okay? And he decided, wouldn't it be nice if I can raise £500,000? Right. And I bet there was a few people that thought,
whoa, wait a minute. What, he's going to what? What do you mean, 50? What, he just walked around his garden 50 times?
Yeah, but he's a very old guy with a walker, so, and one thing I don't know is how big his garden is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it could be acres. I don't know. But anyway, I think...
He's like, I live in Kielder. I mean, if he lives there, I'll sponsor him. If he owns that and that's his back garden, I will definitely sponsor him. I'll sponsor him anyway. So anyway, what's happening with it? So he asked for some money.
So this was happening the other day, and obviously he's doing it out of principle rather than how difficult the task is. I mean, I don't know how difficult walking is for him, but he looks old, so
Right, he's an old guy. You're right, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, decided if I can raise $500,000 for the NHS during this difficult time.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's what I thought. I thought $500,000. If he hits that, well done. Good effort. So I think it's 2 days. It might have only been yesterday he started. you want to take a punt at how much money he's managed to raise and just given so far?
Well, bear in mind, you've sent me the link. I haven't opened it. And when did it start, though? When did you start?
I believe it started yesterday. I saw it on Good Morning Britain yesterday morning.
Right. So it went big yesterday morning. So it might have been on before that, but yesterday morning was big. So 24 hours.
So I tell you what. I'll give you the breakdown. 10th of April. Right. It is now the 15th. It's the 15th today.
Right.
So 5 days ago, he hit his first target of £1,000.
Oh, so it was a few days ago. He put it up a few days ago.
No, he hit his first target of £1,000.
Right, okay.
Right, so that was 5 days ago.
I feel like I'm on a game show, right? Go on, yeah.
Okay, and so by 2:30 on the 12th, he managed 250,000.
Right.
Okay, so now, 3 days later, trying to get 500,000, how much do you think he's got?
2 million. 2.5 million.
Ooh.
Am I close?
Not really.
Shall I open it? Wait, don't tell us. Shall I open it and it'll be like a drum roll?
You open it.
All
you
right,
hit that link. You open it.
Drum roll, please. All right, okay, I've got it. Ta-da! Where do I see the amount?
Should be on the right-hand side.
It just says percent.
And underneath that, there should be a big number.
Oh no, it's all. Oh no, it's all going wrong. It's grayed out. You might just have to tell me what it was.
Okay, so when I refreshed it about 30 minutes ago, he had 5.6 million.
Hey! I mean,
256,000 different people.
I mean, I've just seen the picture of him. If he gets round the garden once, it'd be a miracle.
Yeah, well, there you go. So that was my Corona touch today. I thought,
Corona touch, Corona touch.
We had to make some mention of Captain Tom Moore, and
well
done, mate. I mean, that's insane. I mean, I don't even know when it ends. It hasn't even finished yet.
Do you think he's listening? Like, we've sworn a lot already. He's probably turned off.
Oh, dude, look at the medals he's got, man. He's heard worse than what we've said.
Yeah. He has.
I'm sure he's Captain Tom Moore. He's
Tom
obviously
Moore.
been in the war. Oh, hang on.
Nope.
Yeah, officer training in 1940. 5.6 million, and it's still going. Yeah, so I just want to. I'll end it there. Round of applause for Captain Tom Moore.
Way, yay! Right. So anyway, let's get on with the greatest episode. I know you're gonna sing it there. I could sense it, but then I did it. Can I just say, by the way, before we start at the 14-minute mark, my last episode 2, right? First episode, we sat down, turned the mics on, and just bullshitted for however long, and I literally pressed save, and then that was it, and I put a rubbish Microsoft Paint thing on it, and that was it. Episode 2,
Microsoft Paint thing. So
I know, I'm gonna keep it going, but episode 2, I had to edit for 5 hours, right? And there's a couple of things I say habitually that I need to stop. I'm consciously trying to stop saying in my head now. And there's a few things we need to do. So come on, I've done some structure this time. There's a theme. Have you seen anything great on Facebook this week? Hence the greatest podcast in the world.
Well, I just want to bring something up, right? A friend of ours, Andy Buchanan.
Yeah, Andy B.
His Mrs. Jen, she put up it must be a video. I'm going to admit, I haven't watched the video, but she obviously put a video up for his birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see if I can find it so I get this word for word. But she basically put something in the caption for the video along the lines of, "Happy birthday, Andrew. I love you," which it's lovely.
It's nice. It's nice.
But the first frame of the video is you and Jen. I just saw this clip. There's the start of this video.
Yeah.
And it's like, Andrew, I love you, and then there's you and Jen on the picture. So that tickled me when I first saw it. It's like Jen confessing her love for you. Even though
great one.
Quoting Andy's name. Happy birthday, Andrew. You're my everything. I love you. Picture of Rob.
And I love stuff like that. Last Christmas Christmas before I got a Christmas card off a lady friend.
A lady friend?
Yeah, and I'm not going to say who they are, right? But the names are like Tom and Jane, okay? And it had It had, to Rob, Merry Christmas, love from Jane and Rob. I was like, what? And then it was so funny. I took a picture of it and I sent it to her. She was like, oh my God. I just thought it was just really funny, like, stuff like that.
On the brain.
It really gets me.
Clearly.
We've had some good stuff on Facebook. Caroline Saberson, who was gonna come on this, but we've done this really last second, like we haven't even decided, so we just started recording. So you'll be on the next one. Don't worry, we're gonna have a special guest coming on the show soon. It's gonna be Kaz, but she went out in the street and did a little. She's a singer, you see, and did a little concert. So I saw that on Facebook. That was good.
She needs to do it again, but like tomorrow night. Where we're supposed to go outside and clap. It is Thursday tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
Go outside and clap.
When everybody goes outside and claps, she can do a bit tune.
Well, I did a couple of things earlier in the week. I did the Joe Exotic Day, where I just woke up thinking everyone should dress like him, and we all had a grand old time. We talked about it last time. Yeah, and Andy and Jen decided to cross-dress for a day. I mean, people are getting mental now in the houses.
Yeah, man. I mean, have you picked your Joe Exotic winner yet?
Yeah, yeah. See, I mean, Andy B, he's got the mustache still. He's actually rocking it now. The proper Joe Exotic mustache. Andy did dye it that day for the picture, so he has to win most genuine. But in terms of the best picture on the internet, as you on the city, still, you were the winner that day.
I definitely was not the winner.
You were, well, no, you weren't.
Not
a winner in life, but a winner in the day.
Internet forever.
Right, okay, so let's get on to the crux of the podcast, the greatest. So we're going to go through our greatest things. They're some bit weird, some of us have got stories, some of us, me or you, me or Kel, what the fuck, have got stories, but we're going to start with the greatest film. Now, this doesn't have to be the greatest, it could be one of your greatest. Now, I did this podcast with Andy and Jen as a dry run, and honestly, we ended up talking for hours, so I'm going to try and stick to schedule and not get distracted and make points, because that is another thing I noticed. I just am terrible. So,
well, at least you're remembering everything so far. That's always a win.
Am I? I can't remember. Right. So, greatest film, one of your greatest films. Cal, over to you.
All right. Okay. So, obviously, we haven't had a dry run of this, so I had a couple in here because I put what I think should be considered one of the greatest films. But then,
yeah.
And it's up there mainly because of its like longevity and the fact that it moves through generations and people still appreciate it all the time. Yeah. And it's got to be one of the original Star Wars trilogy.
Ah, really?
And probably The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. All right.
Yeah, and and I'm not saying it's necessarily one of my favorite films.
No, but that's what. Oh, right. So it's not. Are you just saying what you think is the greatest film?
Yeah, what I think should be considered, because that's how you would. You just told me think of the greatest film.
All right.
You didn't say what is your greatest film, but anyway.
Wait a minute.
So yeah. So
obviously I meant that because you can't. I can't say to you what is the greatest film.
Okay. Well, I'd be here all day trying to think of my greatest film.
So what do you think Star Wars is?
One of my favorites.
Wait. What do you think? What have you classed it as? So what do you think Star Wars is? Just one of the greats? Is that how you've answered it? Not your great, just one of the greats.
One of the all-time greats, yeah.
Right, okay.
Purely because, my parents like them. I
was going to say, I've never ever seen you watch one.
Really? Well,
probably not. Listen, we've known each other a long time. I don't even think I've heard you talk about Star Wars in our lives. Like, I mean, I'm like, I would say I'm the same. Like, I like them. That like, yeah, that's good. If it's on of an afternoon, right, yeah, good. Oh, it's enjoyable. I'm not a nerdlinger. I'm not mad for it. Like some people are. But I've never even. So I don't talk about it. But I've never even heard you talk about it.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I'm not a nerd about it or anything, but I can appreciate why it should be considered one of the greatest films of all time.
All right. Okay. All right.
But one of my personal favorites.
One of yours, yeah.
Not. Getting the top 50 probably of greatest films. It's just one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, it's just yours. One of yours.
Aliens. I can watch it over and over and over again. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is it's just so quotable between me and a few of my friends, you know.
Well, this is it.
It's got lasting memories with my group of friends.
If I had to pick a film, it would be that, because I always remember you liking it. You always had it on at your house when we were littler,
Definitely Silent.
Teenagers or whatever. But yeah, I would, yeah. Yeah, I could have guessed that. If you'd asked me to guess that, I would have said that was one of yours.
Oh.
Yeah. Any more?
And obviously, you've also got to bear in mind that it's one of the few films that where the sequel is better than its predecessor.
Yes.
Although some people might argue the other way, but
well, I would say
it's
on a par
better for me.
Well, it's on a par in terms of the subject matter and stuff, but then it is better. So people might get. I suppose people will get annoyed. The first one is boring. Boringer. You like me come out of the English language. Like my critic review. The first one is boringer. But yeah, it is. And then the second one's mint. You get all the Marines and Hicks and Hudson and Vasquez and all
then
the
it kind of goes downhill from there.
And then, yeah. And it's like a, I was going to say it's like a horror film, but I suppose it is a horror film. But is it? It's a bit more of a, I don't know what it is.
More of a science
fiction, yeah.
Fiction.
Couldn't think of that word there, science fiction.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose technically it is a horror, but... And it probably was the first time you watched it. But certainly, back in the day when it was brand new and the special effects were state of the art and all that jazz. And it's the same with a lot of horror films, I think, now. That, like the older ones, you look at them and they're borderline comedies. I mean, fuck me, Gremlins is a Christmas film now. That was a horror when it came out.
We just talked about this recently, like when we were just talking, not on podcast, about the new Chucky is hilarious. Like I've watched the new Child's Play.
Yeah.
I put the new Child's Play on, and as I told you before, I laughed. It was so funny. It was just funny. Like I wasn't scared, and I wasn't laughing ironically, like, oh, this is so bad, it's funny. I was actually laughing at it like it was a comedy. The doll, like the first Chucky, right? It's that eerie, evil, cute. That kind of those porcelain doll looks where they kind of look so cutesy, they're evil. This one looks.
He looks a bit demented, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. It's like the first one they didn't try, and it was unintentional. It was cutesy, and the more cute it looked, the more sinister it was. This one, they've tried to make it look cute to look sinister, but it's weird. It's got all the white lines on its face. Anyway, I just laughed all the way through it. It's meant to be the greatest anyway, and
what's yours then? What was the great?
Well, you've changed it. You've changed it though, because I'll do another one. I'll have to think now. I'm gonna think off the top of my head if in terms of one of the greatest influentially of all time, like you did at the start. So for that answer, let me think about that answer, because I didn't think about that one. But so one of my greatest films is, well, you'll know. Wait, I'm gonna say a few of them first, just so I don't sound like a glebe. So I love Die Hard. The first Die Hard is one of my greatest films. It just is. I know that sounds cliche, but it genuinely is. Like, I know people just say it, but it genuinely is for me.
That's your Aliens. My Aliens is your Die Hard.
Yeah. I don't know why that sounded dirty. Your Aliens is my Die Hard. Yeah, that was it. And I like.
No, you got more. Bring it on.
Die Hard, yes. I do like the 80s film Mannequin. It's one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh, God.
Do you remember it?
Your list. Let's not pretend that gets put underneath Die Hard. You love it.
I do love it. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I can't wait to edit that fucking out. Fucking shouting down. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's about a guy who creates a shop mannequin, from like a shop window, and it comes to life at night, and it's Kim Cattrall, who the lasses will know now from Sex and the City, where she looks like she fucking crawled out of a haunted mirror. But back in the 80s, she was actually kind of mint, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah, she was pretty good back then.
The amount of times in Mannequin, I rewound the part where she flashes him in that big fur coat, and she's got the bikini on.
All right.
I'd put the tape on my mum and dad, and when it got to that bit, the tape would get all fuzzy, and they go, I wonder what's happening here. I don't know. It's just this bit.
Overused.
So yeah, that's
another. You got anything else in there? Die Hard, Mannequin,
and one of my favorite films that still is Moulin Rouge. And I'm not coming off well.
That's right.
Yeah, you are right. Moulin Rouge is a great film. I don't care what you say. that in terms of films, I mean, I've got loads of greatest. I mean, another one. The last one I promise is the original Superman, the motion picture. Just one of my favorite films of all time.
The original.
Yeah. Well, I love Superman anyway. I
always
have.
Superman 3.
No, that's really a bad one. It's funny because Richard Pryor.
I love Richard Pryor.
Yeah. It is good, but 3.
Oh, see no evil, man. Brilliant.
In
Richard
terms
Pryor
of
class.
Actually, the bit I like in 3 is when he turns. I think this is 3 when he turns evil and he's got like a darker suit on. He's just in the bar
flicking
peanuts, and then like that blew me mind as a kid. He was flicking them though like bullets. I was like, I wish I could do that, and I would just.
I wish I could kill people with peanuts.
I would kill all my enemies with peanuts. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so the greatest film is turning into the greatest ensemble of films. So...
Ensemble. So now greatest television show. Come on, let's we've got to get this pace up. Come on, greatest television show.
Okay. So again, because of your poorly worded questions.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking.
I'm going to be honest. I don't put much thought into this. That's my honest answer.
So I thought, for similar reasons to Star Wars, that you can't argue with Friends.
Is this iconic show? Just iconic show.
Greatest television show?
Yeah.
Because
totally.
It's never been off the TV. It is constantly on a spin, and yet very few the people that like it, which let's face it, are most people, can watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
I know there are people out there that don't like it, so I'm not going to say everybody, but
I love it, and you know what as well? Like it's been so long for me since I've actually watched it that I can put on like season 4 now and just not remember anything, like because my memories, like I've literally got early onset dementia. I can just watch things like they're brand new, which is a great new little superpower I've developed.
And plus, I think everybody can relate to at least one of the characters in it.
Friends was iconic, but is that yours or is that just a general greatest television show?
That was kind of probably more general one, but
I did say episode. You could have episode if you like. So
I know why you put
episode
because yours is going to be that fucking episode of Lost, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've told you about this privately. Yeah.
I tell you what, man. I'm on the spot now. I don't know what I would consider my favourite series.
You've just done spoilers for my answer, you motherfucker. Sorry.
That's fun.
Well, I'll tell you what then. Well, you think I'll explain it. So yeah, one of my favourite. It's not my favourite show by any stretch of the imagination. It's from the show Lost. It's an episode called The Constant. Now this episode, it's a bit like it's because I love anything to do with like time travel, like Back to the Future or Looper. I can't think of all the classic time traveling films, but it's about time travel. But it's good though because it's a contained story, so you can watch that episode and pretty much 95% get what's going on, and it's a masterpiece of an episode. Editing, the people in it, the story, the eventual climax of the episode, just great. Like. And I can just sit down and watch it. That same episode, just as like as if you would watch Friends in the day. Yeah. I feel all right. I thought you'd hung up there. I thought you got so bored.
I was just letting you go on. I'm genuinely struggling because I think if it wasn't,
I agree with Friends though.
For the final series, Game of Thrones would be there for me. And bearing in mind, I'm not one of these people that hated the last series. I actually thought it was all right.
I didn't hate it either. Well, I did. But I didn't.
The only thing I hated about it is that it still felt a little anticlimactic.
Well, it was rushed. It was rushed.
Yeah, compared to the rest. But why rush it? Why did they knocked it down to 6 episodes instead of 10?
Well, HBO gave them as many as they wanted, and the showrunners who were going off to do Star Wars said no, and they just rushed it so they could go and do Star Wars, basically. Look, I mean, I don't, they've been on that show for a decade. I don't blame them for wanting to do something else. But yeah, they could have just handed it off and went, look, HBO wanted to do another at least 3 seasons where you could have had Daenerys go mad very slowly and it could have been masterfully done with some great twists. Nah, they just did it in 1 episode. She went, and then suddenly she's roasting people alive. Like, it's a shame the way it ended. It's a master. I agree. It's one of the shows for the decades, along with Breaking Bad, which again I wasn't mad for like everybody else, but I watched it and I watched it. It was like, this is good. That was my that was my review of it. Yeah,
because
I'm enjoying it.
Game of Thrones is one of the first things for a long time where you couldn't wait for the next season to start.
Yeah,
you couldn't wait from week to week to watch an episode, and you couldn't save them all and binge watch them at the end because there was always some dickhead at work that would give a spoiler because they couldn't help it. So you had to watch them as they came on, and it's sad because I felt the same way about The Walking Dead for so long.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's just so sad that it's tailed off. But I have to admit, obviously, I haven't watched new series which is on now. I think season 10 or whatever it is. The first half of it before Christmas was pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I currently have 7 out of the 8 episodes for the second half of the series to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm hoping will be as good as the first. So it's just... They've still got a chance of reviving it, I think.
Well, The Walking Dead has the opposite problem to Game of Thrones. The Walking Dead could have been an absolutely mint 4 seasons, absolutely amazing 4 seasons with all the best bits of all that. But the problem with that is, the channel was like, oh, this is our highest rated thing. Let's just make them forever. And that's when it fell apart. Even characters like Negan, who I know he's in the comics, but I couldn't stand him to watch him.
The thing is, The Walking Dead is a genuine case of be careful what you wish for, because we need to make him exactly like he is in the comic book, or we're going to upset them. And unfortunately, you ended up with a cartoon villain.
Yeah, he was very cartoony, and that's when it tailed off.
The writers cannot win. They've almost got to just put the fans out of their head and go, whatever you say is wrong, we'll run with what we thought was best in the first place.
Have you got any iconic scenes, greatest iconic scenes? So just a single scene? There's loads from films. Reservoir Dogs, the guns pointing at each other. Again, it's a bit obvious, but any greatest, favorite greatest scenes?
Well, I've got a top 3, and Debbie's not necessarily in any particular order.
All right, go on then.
And for very different reasons.
Yeah.
One of them, and you'll hate this, but I don't care. Is the scene when, spoiler alert, everybody starts disappearing in Infinity War.
All right.
Now, I know you're not a Marvel fan, so you don't get it.
No, I have no idea what that means. I know just from internet memes and stuff that loads you get. I guess if people haven't seen it, maybe we shouldn't spoil it. But I don't know.
If they haven't seen it now, then tough shit. It's that one's been out for 2 years. If you haven't seen it yet, you're not bothered enough for this to be a spoiler.
This is like when they're on the internet talking about a film from like 1989, and they go spoilers.
just for you is the protagonist. If he clicks his fingers, half of the population dies in the galaxy.
Ah, right, yeah.
And obviously he clicks his fingers and
coronavirus is released.
Basically, and half of the population disappears. And
okay.
For a comic book film, there's some quite powerful
scenes
of people disappearing. Okay, so that's one. And another one for just a pure amount of shit going on.
Yeah.
Omaha Beach. Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, man. That is a good choice.
Yeah,
I never even thought about that, actually. I love that bit. And then, obviously, with all the that influenced all the games that we used to play.
Yeah, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor. Yeah. I mean,
great.
It is up there. But the one that gets me in the feels every time, and, I don't mind saying it, I can cry at a film. I can get a bit teary. And no matter how many times I watch this, I don't even have to have watched the whole film.
Yeah. Oh, so you just turn it on and cry. Like, come on, man.
But if it's on and you just happen to flick it on and it's already on that scene.
He's justifying it. He's justifying the fact.
I don't need to justify it.
Right, come on then. What is it?
The hung, drawn, and quartered scene in Braveheart.
Honestly, I could not have guessed that if you paid me £1 million. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a combination of the action, the history, even though it's probably bullshit.
Yeah.
And because we obviously, if you read the history, William Wallace was a complete cunt, but don't know who it was written by. So anyway, and it's the music, it's the score of music that goes on behind it.
And it's the Gibson getting done in. Well, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen that film from 1991.
From 25 years ago.
Well, people do that on YouTube, man. They do that. They go, they talk about a film from like the 80s and go, oh, spoilers if you want to skip ahead. So it just came out in the 80s, man.
So yeah, they're probably my top 3 iconic scenes. I'm sure I probably could have thought of more, but they're the ones that jumped into my mind as soon as I read the question.
Just be right. Listen, this will be my answer for this because it's something I forgot to say earlier in terms of television shows. One of my top 3 is Spaced. If anyone hasn't seen Spaced, it's basically where Simon Pegg and Jessica Stevenson wrote a sitcom. It's amazing, and I'm sure it's on Netflix or Prime. So go and watch it. Anyway, that's my answer for that one because I hadn't really thought of anything. Now the next question on the list was greatest comic, but I think you're gonna say comic book, but actually what I meant was stand-up. But,
no, I got that.
Oh, all right. Okay, go on then. So, greatest comic?
Okay, so...
You can have comic as well, if you want to.
I mean, I'm not a big enough comic... Oh, I'm not a comic book reader at all. I just read some of the Walking Dead ones out of sheer curiosity on what it was like. But in terms of stand-up comedians, because I've seen a couple... I understand that you can't appreciate a comedian properly unless you've seen them live. That's my opinion anyway. So I can only really go off the ones I've seen live, which are Russell Howard.
Yeah.
And Lee Evans.
Hey!
And Lee Evans is just up there for me. Like
of all time, Lee Evans, of all time.
Yeah, because, he makes me laugh so much, till my face hurts. Tears are streaming down my face, and I'm gonna wet myself, and I'll still just sit there and and take it rather than go to the toilet.
I mean, we have quoted Lee Evans all our lives, and he's been a massive thing for me and you. I'm sure me and you have seen him. And I've seen him live a few times, but I'm sure one of the times
you saw him live with me because my dad bought me tickets for me and my current girlfriend of the time. Who I split up with, took the ticket and took you instead.
She broke up with you because you bought her Lee Evans tickets.
Oh no, that's what she was buzzing about it. Livid when I said you couldn't come. Anyway, but I do actually want to throw out an honourable mention because
I've got loads of honourable mentions.
Really wish I could have seen live.
Yeah.
If I could have seen anybody, I would have loved to have seen Richard Pryor.
Oh, Richard Pryor, yeah. I didn't, again, that...
Although I don't know if I would fit in the room,
You are slaying me with your answers today, because I would never have expected you to say Richard Pryor, to be honest.
Really? I think he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Hilarious.
Any more honourable mentions while you're at it?
It's funny, because there's some comedians I thought were really funny when I was a teenager, but then when I revisited them later... didn't quite find them as funny.
Well, I was just about to come on to that. I think that, and this is going to shock you, I think that a little bit about Lee Evans. Like, I thought, the other day I was just chilling, and I thought, I was just chilling. I don't know why I said that. What a dick. And I stuck on one of the later ones, and you know what? I found it not that good, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, his later ones aren't great, but, Leslie Nelly put Monsters on last night, which I think was either last or his second to last one.
Yeah.
And I don't find it as funny, but
no.
Up to is Wired and Wonderful tour. Anything up, including that one and before it. So I think Wired and Wonderful was the one we went to see.
I think his last ones are he's already, it doesn't even have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, the other ones, he had all these set pieces in, like the piano bits, the Bohemian Rhapsody, because he was, that was his thing. That's how he got started. It was in his first, special. He used to do these big comedy set pieces, finish on a song, stuff like that. But then his last two just felt like, these know I'm mint. I'll go out, I'll do the little running about bit, but with just quite generic stuff. Oh, me wife shopping. It just didn't feel as good as the old ones.
Yeah.
But he is one of the greatest, though. He's still in my greatest of all time, definitely.
Elaborate. Do you have any more?
Well, just honourable.
Do you consider the best of all time?
Honourable mentions, people who make me laugh.
You know what it is? That Australian guy that you.
Carl Barron. Carl Barron is good. So he's not very big here. People won't know who he is. But
I'd never heard of him, and I still couldn't remember his name.
He's just this little bald guy from New Zealand. He's so funny. His timing is incredible. Yeah, Carl Barron is an honourable mention. There's loads. I love comedy, so I just love loads of people. So I can't I don't know. I can't
Yeah, but I mean, you've shown me some, and I thought, yeah, they're all right. But that guy, he was
Jim Gaffigan. I love Jim Gaffigan mainly.
He's
his
quite
delivery
funny.
Is amazing. I used to really like Tim Vine, but I don't know. Maybe I've gone off the pun one-liners now. I don't really like them that much now.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I don't particularly like Jimmy Carr's stand-up.
I don't like Jimmy Carr's stand-up. I don't really like him. I mean, I don't mind him hosting a
as
show.
like a panelist on game shows.
Yeah,
I can't stand his stand-up. You know, reining him in. I just thought he's unnecessarily. It's like I know you like him, but I don't like Chubby Brown either.
Wait, why do you say I like him?
Because you used to like him.
Oh, dude, I mean, you know, there's a portion of of kids of teenage years that like him, which is when I liked him. You know, I thought he was you think he's funny when you're 14 and he's saying split arse. You know, I don't like him now. He's fucking horrendous. But when you're a kid,
yeah, I understand that there's a certain type of comedian, but that's why I don't like him. Anyway, we've gone away from greatest of people who don't like him.
He's end of the pier. You know, he's just
kick him off the twat.
But he knows what. You sounded a bit like him there. Kick him off the twat. So I'll tag him in this post.
Do it. You'll love getting, bitched on, roasted.
We're gonna have to fly through these because we're at 53 minutes, but I'll edit a lot of this out again for
yeah. I mean, Christ, I don't think we're even halfway through this bitch.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to be
halfway through this bitch.
It's gonna be a greatest part 2.
Maybe, but we could fly through it. I did cut about 4.5 hours from the last one in my 8-hour editing session.
There's not going to be that much editing this time, I hope.
Okay, so any greatest guilty pleasures you've got in terms of music? I'm not talking. Don't name something hipsterish out the charts. I just mean a song that you just love, even though it's cheesy.
Songs. I just.
Music.
You know, my guilty pleasures, and anybody that really knows me, that is close to me, knows that I don't mind a bit of Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
and, a 90s boy band.
Yeah. Oh, listen, some of them songs are good though. I used to love a bit of Boyzone, but obviously when you're that age, you can't say I love Boyzone because you get your face kicked off. So you know what I mean. But you'd have a little sly listen. Yeah, that's a guilty pleasure, I guess. I couldn't name you a song now. Like, or could I? Love me for a reason. Is that them? No.
Yeah, that's Boyzone.
Is that them? Oh.
Yeah.
See, I did it.
But yeah, so so go on, guilty pleasure then. Have yours.
Well, I kind of just admitted a Boyzone, but I like soundtrack stuff. So I don't really like chart stuff. I like
That's not really a guilty pleasure, a soundtrack though.
Well, aye, but it depends on what soundtrack. It's just like
Come
songs.
on, you can't dodge this ball.
It's just songs, man. I like songs out of films. Like, obviously, I said one of my favorite films, Moulin Rouge. So one of my guilty pleasures is the song "Come What May," which was an original composition for the film. It's just such a good song. I love the song. It's a duet. Great song. That's a guilty pleasure. I can listen to that anytime. Yeah, I like a bit of classical as well. Guilty pleasure classical. I like. I listen to John Williams and stuff like that. I just listen to anything I quite like if it's on a film or if it's a pop song in a film and I go, oh, I quite like that. I'll listen to that. Like, I don't, like if I had to put a playlist in my car, which I've got literally about 20 songs and that's it. Like, I don't listen to anything new or anything. Yeah.
The thing is, I think everybody's like that really. It's just whether or not they choose to admit it. Yeah. Nobody, everybody hides their real Spotify playlist.
Anyway, next on the list is greatest game or game system of all time. You got a good one?
Well, yeah, I mean, greatest game system I'll go with first, and that's PC hands down, purely for customization reasons.
Oh, of course,
it's just its functionality. But I wasn't sure if you specifically meant systems like consoles.
Yeah, like consoles. So, like if you can remember anywhere you're a kid, or like I had an Amiga. I used to love me Amiga.
The Xbox 360.
Really?
Yeah, I did have to think about it for a while, but then when I came up with my reasons for it. It's how long it was relevant for, fucking forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the kids here is still using one of my Xboxes that, and I think me and you bought our first one in like 2006
Yeah, we bought our first one when they first came out, and I swear to God, it was about 1,200 quid or something. We got it from a catalogue, I think, or something like that.
So, it's 13 plus years that this thing's been going.
It did have a good life cycle.
And the amount of game, and I've played on it with you. I've played on it with Ellie, my daughter, and have played on it with my stepkids.
Yeah.
And it was just so far ahead of the curve. I mean, it obliterated the PlayStation 2, which obviously it was meant to. It was next gen. But PlayStation 3...
you've missed a generation. Hang on, where's the Xbox original? You remember the Xbox?
Yeah, the Xbox original. I don't think I ever played on it.
Yeah, but what generation was it? Was it PS1 or 2? Or 3?
The original Xbox was PlayStation 2 generation.
So PS3 is equivalent to 360, isn't it?
Yes,
Is
that's
what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And
Right.
the PlayStation 3 for me never got anywhere near what the Xbox 360 could do and was doing.
Well,
it was totally inferior. I mean, however, I do think they've swapped places in the 4th gen. Now the PlayStation 4 is probably much. I think its game exclusivity is much better than the Xbox One.
Well, but I do a stupid thing with them. I buy them for a game. I'll buy a whole system just for a game. I did it with
an
the
Xbox
PS4.
One X for Red Dead Redemption.
I did.
2.
I bought the One X for Red Dead 2. I bought the PS4 for Spider-Man and a game called Days Gone. If anyone's ever played it, it's quite good. But I buy them for one game, and then generally, it's sad, but I don't kind of really touch them again.
Oh.
I bought the original 360 when we bought it. I only really wanted to buy it for 2 games. One, Dead Rising. No, Dead Rising was the original.
Rising.
The original reason I was like, I seen a review and it was like, you're in Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead, the one in them all, whichever one. I'll get some furious people about that. And you could play that and it's funny, and I just thought that sounded incredible. And it was incredible. The amount of times you came around, came down and played it. And the Superman game, remember the shit Superman game?
It was shit.
It was shit, man. It was so
You tried
shit.
your best to love that game.
Because I wanted to love it. I wanted to love it because
yeah.
I love Superman. I love Superman, but it was terrible. It didn't even have like the music in it. And I remember like one of the interviews that said like, well, that music cost a lot of money, so instead we put it into gameplay and extra people to do this, that. And I just thought, what a load of rubbish, because you've licensed Superman. I'm sure you can get the music, and it was gash. So anyway, I did try my best to love it.
So what's your favorite console? Greatest ever system?
Well, not really a console, but a thing I remember, like a real shaping of childhood, was like Amiga. I had an Amiga. I had a Commodore 64 before that. But probably the Amiga is what got me interested in PCs. And then one of my sister's ex-boyfriends, he liked PCs. Back when like building them, it was serious business. Like, it wasn't just plug and play like it is now. He taught me all that, and I loved it. And yeah, so really went from the Amiga to the PC, like a 386, I think I had, or a 286 maybe. It was really bad. Pentium 286 and 386, remember them? 486. Whoa, that was the Ferrari. So yeah, probably the Amiga and the game, Lemmings and Sensible Soccer,
Lemmings 2
all of
tries.
them. Battle Chess, remember Battle Chess? That was good. I just like to see the little animations of them battling. Yeah, I didn't even know how to play chess. Altered Beast, really eerie game. Still have nightmares about it now.
It always felt like it didn't work properly, even though it did.
No, not Altered Beast. I've got that wrong. It's not Altered Beast. The one where you turn into a big wolf, isn't it? I meant, remember the one where it had like pan pipes, and you were a little kind of creature on like this hellscape, but the music was like like quite eerie. It was Beast something. Shadow of the Beast. That was it. You'll have to look it up. It was a horrible game. Gave me nightmares.
Okay, so favorite game, greatest game of all time.
Greatest game of all time. I know it seems unfair because it's recent, but in terms of scope, scale, effort, size, just incredibleness, it's Red Dead Redemption 2. It's undescribable. It's the closest thing to Westworld that we have right now. I think that is the greatest of all time. But if we're talking like what shaped my younger years game of all time, probably Medal of Honor Allied Assault. We played a lot of. That was our first real serious game online for me and you, getting into like playing shooting games.
Yeah,
long before
Medal of
Call
Honor
of
was
Duty.
more for you, but that was before us to actually have my own PC though. So I would come to yours and play that. Call of Duty was probably my one.
Call of Duty 2. Good times.
But I think the greatest games of all time, I've got to tie Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously, and Skyrim.
Yeah.
Skyrim was one of the first games it was like, if I started playing it, I could be on it for a week without going to bed. I
spent a lot of hours in the first playthrough. I spent a lot of hours in it. I mean, but then
that's one difference between you and me. It's very rare that I'll play through a game like that a second time.
Well, I won't play it a second time usually. I won't play any game a second time apart from I played the original Red Dead a second time and this one a second time. Otherwise, I usually play the first 2 hours, and then if it's got me, I might do a bit more. And if it hasn't, no. I very rarely play games to the end. Not just because of time as well, but also because it takes a lot to interest me now.
And an honorable mention because of how many people I've played it with and how many hours I've put into it. Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 is really, really good. Really good game.
11 years old now, and still Left 4 Dead 3. Where is it?
Yeah.
We know we've had a blast on World War Z, and it's it's a spiritual successor, but it's not the same.
So we're gonna get nostalgic now, and this is the greatest moment from your childhood. Have you had any thoughts of this? Well, over the last couple of days since I sent you it.
I don't know. I spent a lot of time with my friends on my bike. That was about it. So.
Oh, so on your bike, that's a good memory though. Just you. On
your
bike.
Yeah, but it wasn't like one.
You were always on your bike, actually. Now that I think about it, you were smashing your bike all over.
But so I think moments that really stand out tend to circulate around Churchill playing field, man.
Yeah.
Playing football under the fog lights that they would leave on.
Oh yeah, I know.
On a Wednesday evening.
Do you think people go there now? Do you think that still happens? I mean, I've never been there since I was a kid, but like, no kids play football there and that. It used to be like, oh man, back before phones. And,
because you weren't actually allowed to play under the lights. If they caught you, you get kicked out.
Yeah. Well, that was it. It was always a bit of danger, wasn't it, when you were a kid? Like we used to go.
There was, some days, man, we'd get like 30 people playing one game of football. It was mental. All right, so and also at Churchill, just getting pissed and stuff for the first time with like Richie Spokes and Rowena Shepherd. There's a blast from the past for you.
Listen, write these down because I will tag them if I can. I'll try. Yeah, getting drunk up there. Oh, great times.
Leading on from that, the ones that the house parties, man. The first few house parties that you and me went to, man.
Yeah. Very your house parties. Very great.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but you never enjoy your own as much because of the worry of what's happening in your house.
I enjoyed your house a lot. It's mad the things you do when you're a kid as well. So like it's not a greatest moment, but it came to mind when you talked about that was we used to go like, oh God, there's going to be so many people tag it. Can you write these people down as I'm saying them because I can't do it with my microphone here.
Okay.
So. This one, we used to get up really early in the morning, and we used to stay over at Stephen Duggan. Remember Stephen Duggan?
Oh yeah, Stephen Duggan.
Good lad. Looks like Joe Rogan now. You've seen Joe Rogan? We'll tag him in it. He does, man. He's spitting image of him. Absolutely mint. We used to stay over at his house and that, and then we'll go fishing dead early in the morning down at Tynemouth Pier.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if I can tag him in this. Oh, how happy you would be about this. But yeah, but. For those who don't know, Tynemouth Pier used to it is just a pier where people will go fishing, but it had a massive, I'm not kidding, it was like a 20-foot spiked metal corrugated fence. Like those industrial ones are really, really thick. So you either had to climb over the spikes, or round it. What we do, the things you do when you're a kid. Imagine your parents knew when you were a kid the kind of stuff you actually doing. Going at 5 a.m. when it's pitch black. To the pier and climbing over this thing with like a 60-foot drop either side. Crazy. Anyway, so I can't remember either. It was on the way to do it or on the way back after we'd gone fishing that a friend of ours, Adam Golder, I'll tag him in it. He's a bodybuilder now, man. Have you seen him? Looks like...
hats off to Adam Golder, man.
Hats off to Adam Golder.
The body transformation is complete.
Because as a kid... I'm going to be polite because I'll tag him in it. He was fat. I can't think of any way to say it. Like he was the big lad of the group, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's fair to say. That is fair to say. But it doesn't matter because he's got the last laugh because now the dude looks like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, yeah, man. God, it's incredible. Anyway, but at this time when we were younger, he was
soft,
a bit more rotund and stuff, and he tried to climb over the top of the fence and slipped, and a metal spike went up his arse. Well, I don't think it went
cheek,
up.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was his cheek. But when you're a
close,
kid, you're like, when you're a kid, you're like, went right up his
every
arse.
goal's a goal and all that.
Came out his mouth. No, but he had to go to hospital. Do you have a greatest weird event in your life that you kind of always remember, or something just that seems random and insignificant that someone said to you? Like it could just be something weird.
This is the one I hadn't really come up with anything for yet.
No,
I was
really.
I was gonna try and think about it today for tonight.
See, I've got too many. I've got too many weird weird events that have happened to me that because essentially I live inside some kind of weird sitcom where like if it can happen and it's hilarious, it will happen to me. You know, whether it's like getting my hotel room swapped to a disabled room where everything, because I'm 6'7", where everything is like a foot off the ground, to like getting the wrong train, to just like I'm like people. Well, people used to call me Frank Spencer just because of that, and so I've got just so many weird things happen that I can't really list them. I used to work for a sex text chat company. You know those late at night ones? Yeah. So late at night, a little while ago, it used to be, hey, do you want to chat to text girls in your area? If you do, text now. So if you texted that, you were texting me in me kegs eating a pot noodle. The time I
You're
lied,
giving away the secrets.
The time I lied and got a job as the head chef at the Willow Cafe in Whitney Bay, and my first day, it was like, I'm begin. Oh, I can't actually cook. So I was burning bread. Well, I suppose you call that toast, but I was like burning it. The time I worked at Safeways for 40 minutes, and I was top of the leaderboard for about 20 years. So I got a job in Safeway. I was buzzing. I went to my job at 5 a.m. They put me in a freezer sorting fruit out. 40 minutes later, I went to the manager and told him I was moving to America. All of this obviously had been decided in the 40 minutes I was at work. And I quit, and I was like top of the board for that for a long time. Again, the time Satanists nearly killed me when I was camping.
Yeah.
Honestly, so much weird stuff happens to me. But it's where I get funny stories for stand-up from, or bits or stuff. So maybe I do attract it. I know the next thing on the list is a bit weird. I just wanted to know what your greatest horse was, just in a nutshell, dead quick.
My greatest what?
Your greatest horse.
Horse?
Horse? Yeah. Just your greatest horse. Come on, man. Dead quick. What's your greatest horse, Gal?
Ed.
Excellent. Good choice. You know what mine is?
What?
Red rum.
Oh, very good.
Greatest movie line of all time.
All right.
Wait, let me do a proper one. Greatest movie line of all time.
Oh, I know what yours is.
You know, dude, I don't even know what mine is.
Really?
So, yeah. What do you think mine is?
This is the one that I picked two, but the first one is probably my favourite. And this is what somebody else, Graham's the Barbers, actually put this on Facebook this morning, which I thought was bizarre.
Wait, is this mine or yours? This is the one you think I like?
This is mine, but I also think it'll be one of yours.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That is so weird because I was watching The Princess Bride was on yesterday.
You watch it every other day.
That's one of my greatest films. Just a bit callback. The Princess Bride. Could watch that. Used to watch that every time I was ill as a kid. Great film, and that's what that quote is from. But yeah, it was on the other day, and that bit as well. The bit where spoilers. Well, it came out. Bloody hell.
1989.
He's fighting the guy at the end in the swords, and he's saying, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." It was that bit that came on as well. So that's weird that he said that, but of course he did because we live in a simulation. Anyway, yeah, that is a great line. But what line is it you think is my favorite?
I thought that would be it.
Oh, yeah, that is up there though. That is up there. No, one of my favorite.
Yeah, no, you
right. Yeah, one of my favorites is from Hot Shots.
Oh.
Do you know what it is or not? I probably would have said this in the past.
You know what it is? When you say it, I'm going to kick myself. I kind of think right now. It's
like they've met for the first time. It's like the hero and like the stuffy general or whatever. You know, the thing. And anyway, they're getting some scrapes together and everything. And Top of Harley, which is Charlie Sheen. I'm sure it's Charlie Sheen that says it. It's the line that's funny anyway, the delivery. And he just turns around and says, I'm not saying I don't trust you, and I'm not saying I do, but I don't. I just love that line. It's so good.
Says it. Does he not say it there? Carrie Ools.
Carrie Ools.
Ools. I think he does.
Oh, and Mrs. Doubtfire. There's another one of my greatest films. It's like I'm on a.
But where's the line? What's your? We're talking about greatest quotes now. What's your Mrs. Doubtfire?
Broke my bag, the bastard. I love that from Mrs. Doubtfire.
It was a run by fluting.
It was a run by fluting. Two of the worst impressions I've ever done.
Another favorite line of mine is
favorite line. Go on.
Yeah. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I've got news for you, pal. You ain't leading two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town.
That's Army of Darkness, isn't it? Or is it?
Yeah, Army of Darkness, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it might be number 2. What's it called?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. I couldn't remember. I was thinking cabin in the woods. I think this bit of the show will be the main bit. I'll probably cut out a lot of the start bit because I like the greatest lines ever.
Right, man. It's game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, yeah. You can think of them, man. I'm trying to think.
Mostly come out at night. Mostly.
Mostly come out at night. Mostly. That's more Eric Cartman doing neat. Oh, right. Well, I'm spent with my greatest lines. I can't think of any.
Die Hard.
Oh, Die Hard, yeah. So, come down to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs. Now I know what a TV dinner feels like. Bit of Bruce, I love a bit of Bruce, man. That is a classic line.
He's a bit of a knob now, isn't he?
Yippee-ki-yay. Oh, he just doesn't care now. He just looks like a wrinkly bald testicle. And he just turns up and just puts the minimum in. Well, we're on movies, though. Have you seen any this week in quarantine? I know we're not going to speak about it, but have you seen any?
Just the ones we've already spoken about.
We watched... Well, I sat with Andy and watched The Hunt again. I know we talked about it last time.
Oh, yeah.
Even better on this time watching it, like because I caught loads of other little things. I watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh yeah,
just classic, and it was on the telly. What else have I watched? I've watched a few things recently. I started watching a film I'm quite liking, but I haven't finished it yet, so I'm not really going to give it away. It's called Fantasy Island.
Oh,
have you heard of that? It's got Michael Pena in. The other guy from.
I know who Michael Pena is. Terrible reviews.
Well, it's middling at the minute. I think the audience reviews are better than the critic reviews. Okay. But I only watched it because it was a Blumhouse film. So Blumhouse, if you don't know, is the guy that I'm sure he does quite good films. Like Cabin in the Woods, I'm sure was Blumhouse, which was good because it was a twist on it. You know what I mean? It was quite mad. It was, you saw the.
So what, is he a producer?
Yeah. He's got his own studio, Blumhouse, and I'm sure it's his own studio, but he does produce them and maybe even directs them. I think he might just be a producer, but he generally it's quite good. So when I saw it was him, I started watching it, and I am enjoying it, and I haven't seen it to the end. But at the minute, it's quite cheesy. But then I was thinking, well, maybe it's a bit Cabin in the Woods, where you're meant to think it's cheesy and all the characters are cliched, and then it's a twist on that. So I haven't seen it if it goes that way. If it doesn't, then it's shit. Obviously, it's just these cliches, but I haven't seen the end, so I'll watch the end of that. But other than that, do you have a greatest director of all time?
I really struggle with this, and the reason why isn't because I don't like directors. It's just I'm not one of these people that always takes notice of who the director is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously I know some, but and so because of my lack of knowledge, I've just settled on James Cameron. Purely because I think he no pun intended, pushes the boat out as much as he can, and sinks it.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah. And usually he does something new that nobody's ever done before, and then everybody else does it for the next 10 years.
I would say, mine's got to be, if you get, I would say, if we do what we did before, where you acknowledge there's an iconic one, then I'd say Martin Scorsese. But, I didn't really like The Irishman, I've got to be honest. I thought it was...
I still haven't watched it. I just haven't had time.
It's overly long, and it was... And the CG in it, the de-aging is really distracting. Really distracting. So I didn't really like it. But in terms of in general, you know what I mean? He is considered great. In terms of personal, I do really like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
I think he's overindulgent.
But his films probably wouldn't be what they are if he wasn't.
Yeah, he needs an editor though. You know, Reservoir Dogs was good. I'm sure Reservoir Dogs is about the hour and a half mark. It's well paced. It was I'm sure it was the first time he kind of switched around the timeline and clever, but you could follow it. But like the Hateful Eight was, I'm sure it was like 3 hours or something, and it was beautiful. Yeah, and I love it. It's a stage play, and I love the Hateful Eight because that's what it is. It literally is a stage play. And beautifully shot on 70mm, even though they're just in a cabin for a lot of it. But yeah, it just needs to be edited. He needs an editor. But I do love his films. I mean, it's quite good that the studio just literally, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He could bring out a 6-hour film. It doesn't matter.
I hope he doesn't know.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I enjoyed. That's about as much as I can say.
Still haven't watched it.
I enjoyed it. Now, that honestly is as much as I can say. I didn't love it. I just thought
most people hate it, so
I thought it was a good film. It was a good film. That's it. But my greatest, probably, without just saying people who I think should be greatest, is Edgar Wright. I think is probably the greatest.
He does all
director.
the Black Mirror shit, doesn't he?
No, that's no. You're thinking of Charlie Brooker. That's the writer for Black Mirror.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah. Edgar Wright started off doing Spaced, but then he's done stuff like Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, all the ones with Simon Pegg.
That's right.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He was involved with some Marvel ones like Ant-Man for a while, but then I think he wanted to do it in his style, and I think the studio didn't, so he quit. He started off directing Spaced. The
so hang on,
series.
would you have watched the Marvel stuff if he'd done it?
No.
Not even your favorite director of all time
no.
could have.
No, because it's got to be something I'm at least half interested in. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't particularly interested in Baby Driver. It's an alright film. Again, well directed. And I just like his style. That Shaun of the Dead style. A lot of kind of snap zooms, whip pans. Red Letter Media, who are a YouTube channel on YouTube, they do a good discussion about Edgar Wright. And so in a film, if someone's traveling to the big city, you can show a car going across the bridge in stock footage, or you can do what Edgar Wright does and do a clever montage of the guy holding the plant on the train. You see the city signs. It's fast, it's clever, and it does all of that, but it does it in a funny, clever way. He really tries. And yeah, he's my favorite.
We're on an hour and a half,
Yeah, no, I'm watching now. There's at least 20 minutes coming out of this. So that's all our kind of greatest things in my list. But any other business, Kellis G, that you would like to discuss that has happened
not really.
this week?
I mean, obviously, we've got some topics we didn't get to, so that we'll have to come to them next time. I think we better end it there because everybody's asleep. Although I would like to say that in the time it took to record this podcast, 1 hour and 30 minutes, Captain Tom Moore now has nearly £6.3 million.
What? It's worth $1 million.
But it was on 5.6, wasn't it before? So it's gone up.
So 6.6.
About 650,000.
Since we've been talking, maybe.
Just while we've been talking, yeah.
Well, maybe people are listening and live, and don't. Maybe it's down to us. That's what I'm saying. Maybe we can get in on this.
Well, I mean, it's great because you know what it is. If anybody that does actually listen to this, they are now going to follow. Because by the time they hear this, it's going to be like 8 hours down the road. By the time you've edited it, I'd like to think you might be at about 8 million by then.
Well, we're on an hour and a half. So
hopefully, for the 3 people that listen to this, we can help push it over the 10 mil.
Well, listen, we're on the hour and a half mark at the minute, so I'll be editing this till this quarantine ends. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back shortly again with another podcast with a special guest. We're going to mix things up a little bit. Rob and Kel podcast. Tune in next time. And listen, please share. Just listen. I'm not bothered if you're not listening, or I'm not bothered how many people listen, but just click share. It takes 2 minutes on Facebook. Someone
probably asked them to do that at the start, like
someone. Yeah, but someone might. Just click share. Listen, someone might love to listen to what essentially is a private conversation recorded and put out on the internet between 2 people that they don't know. So maybe they might want to listen to that. So give it a share, man. It's free. It takes 2 seconds,
and it gives people a laugh during this horrible time.
It does, and if you don't, you're a fucking bellend. So. there's that. But yeah, we'll speak to you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Choo-choo. Bye-bye.
Toot-toot.